Hello, Jessica Frost Ballas here with a video for lawnfawn. Today I created a cheeky Valentine's Day card with the sweet new moles, so let's get started. First I stamp a bunch of the images from A Mole Lot of Love onto white cardstock with Copic-friendly black ink. I use my favorite color combo for fur to color all my moles. The lighter areas use E40, 70, and 71, and the darker areas use E71, 74, 77, and 79. I love these warm grayish-brown shades, and they're perfect to create the velvety fur of those cute moles. I've sped up my coloring, but you should be able to see the marker caps for each color. I'm also trying a new filming angle today for coloring, and I hope it makes it a little easier to see what I'm doing. Generally, I use my darkest marker to create the most shaded area of the image, and then blend out with my lightest marker for a smooth transition. I overlap the lighter shades onto the darker to get a good blend. If necessary, I can always add more shading with the darker markers later. I also use RV10 and 2 for their noses and the worms, RV14 and YG05 for the flowers, and E23, 44, 47, and 49 for the dirt. After I finish coloring, I die cut all the images with the coordinating dies. Here you can see the finished colored images after they've all been die cut. Next, I die cut the Heart Garden border die from cilantro, guava, and raspberry cardstock. The border die is open at the bottom, so I used the stitched hillside border die to give it a little curve. I realized later that I didn't actually need to do that, as the bottom ends up being covered by one of my dirt panels. I apply a little liquid glue to each of the flowers and then add the guava and raspberry hearts. Then I die cut panels of chocolate bar and ground coffee cardstocks with the same stitched hillside border die. I also die cut the slide on over maze from the lighter chocolate bar cardstock to create some mole tunnels. You can see how each piece will layer together to create my mole world. Now it's time to blend the sky. I blend spun sugar and worn lipstick distressing onto a panel of white cardstock until I have a smooth transition. Both of these ink pads desperately need to be re-inked, so it took a little more time to build up the color, but eventually I was happy with the blend. Once it's dry, I adhere the Distress Ink blended panel to a card base and then add the ground coffee panel on top. Then I adhere the Heart Garden border and finally top it with the chocolate bar panel. I add a little texture and interest to the dirt by adding small dots of brown Copic markers, white gel pen, and some gold metallic paint splatters. After the paint is dried, I add all the rest of my colored images with liquid glue. Off camera, I also stamped a sentiment from a mole lot of love and heat embossed it with white embossing powder before trimming it down to a label. After I adhere all my pieces, I decide to color the speech bubble hearts with RV10 and RV000 markers. Inside the card, I add the rest of my sentiment and the leftover colored images. Then I add some of the leftover hearts from the Hearts Garden die and apply a little glitter to each heart. Finally, I add white gel pen accents and a little Nouveau crystal glaze to finish my card. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe to the lawnfawn channel for even more crafty inspiration. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have an amazing day and happy crafting. Bye!